Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree, and we're here today with an eyeshadow palette declutter. I have tried to film this multiple times and they've all come out terrible. So today, however it comes out, we're rolling with it. But anyway, this is gonna be an eyeshadow palette declutter. I do still have to go through my mini, smaller palettes. I have a whole drawer full of them. I opened it up a little while ago and I was like, I don't really feel like it right now. So all of these palettes are from these two little shelves here. They were just getting so crowded and just stuffed full. I was laying stuff everywhere and I was like, what is even in there? So I went through it and I was like, oh, I could get rid of some of this stuff easily. So this is what it is. This is all the stuff I'm maybe letting go of. All of this will make its way to Poshmark, so if you're interested in any of these palettes, keep your eye on my Poshmark. It's listed in the description box. So yeah, other than that, let's talk about all the palettes, shall we? Let's get this big one out of here. This is from Profusion. This is a palette I bought during the holidays. It was only $10, or was it $20, or was it $15? I don't know. I know it wasn't $20. It has a giant eyeshadow palette, and then on this side it has a amazing blush palette, some contours and stuff, some highlighters, some pressed glitters. It's got everything in here. The only thing with this palette is, though, every time I close it, a little bit of powder from the eyeshadows falls onto this section here. So it does need a little bit of a cleaning, but yeah, this palette's in great shape and it's really nice and I really like it. I just don't use it that much and I feel like someone else would really like it. This is a little Ulta palette. This came in my caboodles that I bought. I did use this for a little while and I like it. It's pretty decent, but you know, I just don't need it and I don't reach for it too much. I thought someone else might want it. I also have this Alchemist palette from Kat Von D. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes. One of my all-time favorite palettes of all time. It's amazing. I use it all the time. I have a backup already. But these were on sale. They were selling this for $10 for a really long time. So I bought another one, but I haven't even opened the first backup yet. So I'm like, just let it go. You don't need another one. Speaking of Kat Von D, this is the 10th anniversary palette. Packaging really nice and beautiful. Selection of colors really pretty, but I just don't like this palette very much. I tried it out again in a Shop My Stash a couple months ago. Didn't like it at all. I did say I was going to declutter it, but I thought I would put it in this video for declutter. This is a palette I've had a really hard time letting go of because it has one shade in here I really like. It's from, what's this brand called? It doesn't say it on the back. It just says Curator Eye Palette. Oh, Undone. I did a video on Undone sometime last year. I bought some products because they were doing ads on Instagram. And now they're at Target, but at the time they were just online and I bought several of the things. I don't have any of those products anymore except this palette. And this light side here is so beautiful as inner corner highlights and even face highlighters, but I never reach for it for that reason. I just keep it because it would make a good one. But yeah, gonna finally let it go. This is the Tartelette Lil Toasted palette from Tarte. This was one of their holiday releases. I do not like this formula that Tarte is doing in their new palettes. It's so dry and crusty. Like, what are they doing with this formula? I don't like it at all, and I'm gonna let that palette go. Also, the Tartelette Lil Juicy is gonna go as well for the exact same reason. I just don't like this dry formula. And also the Lil Bloom. And that was just a nice neutral selection of colors. This is the ColourPop Miss Bliss palette. I did depot all of the ColourPop palettes I had that were in this packaging, this plastic one. They had like those monochromatic palettes that they do. I had a bunch of them and I really like them, but I put them all in one big magnetic palette and I like them a lot more in there. And this is one I just never really got into. I did take out the pressed glitter because I hated it. I might put another shadow in there before I give this to somebody, but yeah, never reached for this one. Don't even have an interest in depotting it. This is a little Huda Beauty Ruby Obsessions palette. I got this in an advent calendar. I talk about that advent calendar all the time, but it had a lot of really good products in it. And this is a little palette from Huda, and I don't think I touched it. It's untouched. Never use it, don't have an interest, don't really care about that brand. This is the Natasha Denona Cranberry palette. This is one I have liked, and I like I like 3 of these shades a lot. These 3 right here. I kind of wanted to depot them and keep those 3, but I feel like I'm gonna keep them, I'm gonna depot them, I'm gonna put them in there, and I'm never going to look at them again. So I think I'll just rather let someone take this palette and have the whole thing rather than me going, I'll just take 3 shades and never use them, you know? This is a Betsy Johnson eyeshadow palette. I bought several for things on Walmart. A little brush set that's actually very, very cute. This eye palette though, I never really gave a chance. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I don't really want to use that. I used it a couple times, but I had a really crazy reaction to something else on my eyelids and they were so... No, you know what it was? I was using retinol eye cream on my eyelids. I remember talking about this in a video multiple times. Anyway, and it made my eyelids so crusty and flaky. And then I bought this palette and I was trying to use it and it didn't work because my eyelids were in bad shape. So maybe I'll do a video on the Betsy Johnson stuff. And then if I decide I don't like it, I'll let it go. Maybe I'll do that. Because I don't want to let it go. I really didn't try it. I just remember having a bad experience because my eyelids were in bad shape. I have a little itch right here. You ever try to have an itch on your face with a full face of makeup on and you have to itch it so delicately? What's next? The Milani Gilded Gold palette. I've had this for a while. I think I did a video on this sometime last year and I liked it pretty well. I also have the Gilded Pastels and I really like that one. But this one, I just never really use it too much anymore. Thought I'd let it go. These 3 Wet n Wild palettes here, I bought all 4 of these and I'm keeping one, the one called Call Me Sunshine. It's amazing. It's amazing. And definitely leaps and bounds better than these ones. These ones are cheap crap. I don't like any of these. I'm gonna let them all go. Heart and Soul, this pink one here, the one called, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna let them all go. This little Smashbox palette that I never ever used. It's called Canyon. It's an eye palette. I have a few other ones of these and I really like them, but this one I've never touched it and I have it just to have it now. Have I used it? Maybe that one shade right there was used. I don't know, but I don't have an interest in using it. Like Smashbox, but you know, sometimes just stuff, you gotta let it go. This Urban Decay On The Run Highway Queen palette, bought it, forgot it, never touched it. The Anastasia Riviera palette, this is one I have kept for so long. When this came out, I couldn't get out of my head. I wanted it so bad and I never purchased it. And then I saw people finding it at TJ Maxx and I was like, oh my God, one day I'm gonna find it there. Never found it. And then one day I found it and I almost had a heart attack. I was so excited. I got it home. The packaging is just amazing. The inside here, like this dark purple blue, makes the colors just pop. And every time I use it, I don't like it. Like I don't like the looks I do. I don't like the way the shadows work, the flakiness. I don't know. I don't really care for the formula too much, but I love this whole package. And I love this. Like, I don't know. But now I'm just like, I don't want to keep it just for that. Someone else might really like it. And I don't know. Gonna let it go. Let it go. Next up is something that might be a shocker, the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. Okay, am I gonna say it? Am I gonna say Natasha Denona is overrated? I think I'm gonna say it. Natasha Denona is overrated. I have a couple of the small palettes, those the $25 ones. One of them is absolutely incredible. It's one of my favorite palettes that I own. But every other one I've purchased, I'm like, what is this? I don't know. This palette is beautiful, and I thought I would use it all the time. Swatching these shades is an experience. They're incredible. They're just like, oh my God, like you just want to swatch your whole body. But they don't freaking work on my eyes. The mattes are decent enough, but sometimes they don't blend right. And then the shimmers do not stick on the lid if you already have powder on. So like I had put this green all over my eyes today. If I did that with one of these browns, like on the lid and everything, and then I got one of these shimmers and patted it on, it will not stick. There will be glitter stuck all over my face. It's very frustrating to use, although beautifully packaged and it looks great. It's frustrating and I find it overrated. I also bought the Love palette and I hate it. I hate it so much. It's exactly the same as the Bronze palette. Frustrating. It's not user-friendly. Fall out like crazy. I kind of want to say they're overrated. Sorry. Next up is the Melt Cosmetics, the Beetlejuice palette. I know, another shocker. But I used this one time and I didn't like it. So the packaging is absolutely incredible. I bought both of these actually, and I gave the other one to a coworker, and I think she really likes it. But this is the shade selection in here. I used 2 shades one time and I was like, this is not for me. The formula is just nothing. I can't work with this formula to save my life. And I think someone else might really love this palette. and that someone is not me. I actually might see if she wants this. I know some people are like, you know, about using used makeup. I only use 2 shades. I'll ask her if she wants it. If she doesn't, keep your eye on my Poshmark if you want it. The next up is this palette from Colored Rain. This is the Vivid Pigments and Shadows palette. This was a gift actually, so I hope she doesn't mind if she's watching this video that I'm letting it go. But I don't get any use out of this palette. I actually always forget that I have it. And I tend to forget that I have things that I didn't buy. I don't know, I just never use it. I used it a couple times and I was like, oh, that's good. But it kind of just sits there now. And I was keeping it for a while because it was a gift and it was really nice of her to give this to me, but I never use it, you know? Stay. Next up is the Morphe 35XO Natural Flirt. I touched this yesterday with my lotioned up hands, so I'm gonna see if I can clean that off. But I hate this packaging. I guess I was expecting it to be a cardboard, but it's this plastic that Morphe likes to do that I feel like they could do a little better than this packaging. Anyway, the shades are really pretty, like a nice pretty selection, but every look of course is in the same color family, which is fine. But I don't know, I liked it better online than I do in person, and someone else might really like it. Next up is the Tartist Pro palette from Tarte. There's nothing wrong with this palette, I just have had it and never used it. I bought a Vault, so it came with this, it came with the blush palette, and then the Pro Remix. Absolutely love the Pro Remix. I love it with all my heart. But this one I just never used, and I think because I was so into the other one, this one just kind of sat there, and whenever I want to reach for neutral colors like this, I have palettes I already really love. I have 2 fingerprints and 2 of these shadows that I probably swatched, but yeah, it's pretty much, you know, untouched, so I'm gonna let that go. Finally, I've been keeping it forever just to have it. Same with this one, another Tarte palette. This is the Unleashed palette, but I kept thinking it was called Young, Wild, and Cruelty Free, and I could never find it. I bought this because Coffee Break with Danny did a video, and she loved it. The eye look she did looked great. She talked about it like it looks beautiful, but this is one of the worst formulas Tarte has ever done, and this is the same formula that's in those the Lil palettes. It's just dry and crusty and flaky, and it makes no sense. I don't know why they're doing this formula, but if this is what they keep doing, I'll probably stay away from any future palettes. But yeah, I think someone else might like that. It's just not me. This is the La Palette Nude Intense from L'Oreal. I absolutely die for the nude palette. Their first one, it's insanely beautiful. I love it so much. So I thought I would really, really love this one because the colors are really pretty, but this is not the same as the first one. The formula is not the same. These ones, the pigmentation is lacking, and I also find it really difficult for me to use. The first one though, nothing wrong with it. It's insanely beautiful. This is the NYX Diamonds and Ice Please palette. I got this for during the holidays. I don't know. It's not focusing on it. Is it focusing on something else? Yeah. Anyway, the Diamonds and Ice palette from NYX. I used this a couple times and I'm like, why am I keeping that? Anyway, 2 more. The Kiko Smart Eye and Face palette. This one is kind of like, I wanted one of these for years. For years. I'm not even joking. On Kiko's website. I would look at it all the time and I'm like, oh, they're kind of expensive for what they are. But I thought about them all the time. And finally they were doing some clearancing on these out, and I was like, now is my chance to get one. And I got it, and now I have it, and I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want to use it. I just have it, and I'm like, oh, I got it now. But I don't think I wanted it when I bought it. I think I just bought it because I had always wanted it at one time. So when it was finally available, I felt like I had to do justice to that old memory. I don't know, but I haven't touched it. It's brand new. It's eyeshadow palette in the middle, a little bronzer and a blush. Yeah, I don't know. And then the last one in the bin is from Violet Voss, the Hashtag palette. I don't like this brand. I don't like this brand at all. I think they're very overpriced for made in China stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I bought it because it was on clearance, and I was like, well, I better try Violet Voss. I swatched it and immediately forgot I owned it until I was pulling palettes out to do a declutter, and I was like, I don't want to own anything from this brand. Anyway, that is it. Those are all the eyeshadow palettes I'm going to be decluttering. Like I said, keep your eye on my Poshmark if you're interested in any of these palettes. My Poshmark is listed in the description box. Yeah, let me know, were you shocked at any of these? I know the Natasha Denona might be a little shocking to some, but you know what? They're not for everyone and it's not for me. But yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you later in another one. Goodbye.